Obviously, we had to have therapists present to be able to show the people what the system was all about, what kind of activities they could do. And with regards to the evaluation itself, we carried it out taking into account more quantitative parameters, for example, response time, number of correct and wrong answers, correct and false answers. And then, as we saw yesterday, not everything can be measured in numbers, so we had the qualitative observation. This included direct observation and interviews by therapists, professionals, with the end users. And mainly, the things that I want to mention and share with you here today, something which may seem obvious at first sight, is that the users who were involved in this pilot project preferred language games rather than memory games, because obviously they feel that they get it right and it's not such an effort. And those games compared to memory games, well, they're slightly easier for them. And this is regardless of the actual level of difficulty of the game. So there were people with slight deterioration and others with moderate deterioration, and the same difficulty cannot be applied to both. So you can configure and set the difficulty level according to the user. Almost all of the users needed both hands to take the remote control. I don't have one here, but imagine this is it. We have to, we know that we take it with one hand, we move up and down, side to side, and we use our thumb because we've got practice in doing this. But other people, older people, don't have that habit. So, for example, if the elderly people have to use both hands, all of the literature about how good it is to do everything with your thumb, well, you'd have to make an analysis, because we've seen that it's not so real. Well, I don't know whether real is the word, but for this group, it's not so direct. We can't make or apply such assumptions about using one hand. They all looked at the remote control before they pressed the button, so this idea of pressing it without looking at it, well, it can't be applied. So, they look at the screen, they look down at the remote control, they look up again. A younger person perhaps doesn't lose that time. We just look at the screen the whole time and press the buttons. So if you presuppose these kind of things, we think it's very important to take into account that there are certain parameters that may need to be designed specifically for the elderly group. If we talk about navigation, spatial navigation, left, right, up, down, it may seem very easy to all of us, but when we start to make it more complicated with coloured buttons and such like, or numerical buttons or keys, it's not as easy as you might think, and it doesn't work the way we might expect. So this metaphor of navigation, well, one thing I have to tell you here today is that we have to pay attention to this, because it doesn't work. This doesn't work with this group. The DNI, the electronic DNI, this is an electronic ID card in Spain. The idea was that you'd have a fingerprint. It would be like a fingerprint. You'd have a password, and you could use this ID card to disassociate the person from the deterioration that they have. It would be like a code. They'd put the ID card into the coder, and everything would kind of start up automatically. No user had any problem putting the card into the machine. You might have thought that they wouldn't manage to put the ID card in and take it out. There was just one person who had to try it a second time because it hadn't quite gone in right the first time, but all of them found this simple enough. This use of an ID card, electronic ID card, is perfectly possible. Well, that's it really. That's what I wanted to tell you. If you want more detail about the test details, how it's constructed inside, or where we want to get with this platform, here you have my email on the screen, and I'll be delighted to talk to you. Thank you very much.